back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike. I got my line mate Matt with me, and today we're going to go over the Blackhawks' last two games. Not much to talk about there. We're going to go over some Blackhawks news and some hockey news. But before we get into it, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. If you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave us a review. We'd really appreciate that too. So, as everybody knows, if you've been watching the games, if you have not been watching the games, Hawks continue to slide and get worse. I believe they're on a 7-game losing streak right now. They got 10 games left in this season. I would have really liked to have seen them go out strong, but hey, it is what it is. I think some guys are phoning it in, on a couple of these games. I'm not going to call Lincoln out, man, but he's been playing really, really bad. They got shut out by the Kraken. Lost 6-4 versus the Stars, which are a better team than the Kraken, which I don't get, but it is what it is. Matt, in that Dallas game, the reason I mentioned the Dallas game is because Pat Foley got in the booth with Dale Tallon, man. It was just like old days in Sports Channel 34, and it was great to hear him back again, Matt. Do you remember those days?
Yep, yeah, I pretty much the only guy I knew with Dale Tallon at the time, and then when we were older, obviously Pat took over, or I'm sorry, Eddie took over, and those are like the only two guys I know. So yeah, Dale Tallon has always been a favorite of mine, GM, and he was a good sidekick with Pat, and it did bring back a lot of memories last night.
Yeah, the sidekick thing is really kind of the key, because I think Edzo does a good job of being a sidekick for Foley, because Foley has a very unique personality and a very unique voice, and I think that they're both are a perfect storm for calling Blackhawks games. And I say that because that's all that, like you said earlier, that's all that we know. And it's really sad, man, that that we've come to this time where, this is it for Foley. He's going to be riding off into the sunset. But he did say in an interview that, that he's golfing more, which he likes to do. He's 69 years old, but he just can't do the 82 game season anymore. It's just too much of a grind. And I get it, man, especially at 69, you've been doing this for so long. But he did say that, he's not going to say never about getting in the booth again. So who knows, man, he could be guest starring, maybe a few games during the season just to kind of hold Hawks fans over,
Yeah, the old ones like us.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm willing to give Chris Foster's a chance, because it's kind of unfair to just, he's in a really bad situation. He's in a bad situation because he has to take over for Foley, and that's not a good place to be in.
It's like being a coach after Q. It's like, this guy's got 4 cups, and 3 with the Blackhawks, and I have to take over after him. It's kind of, it's going to be tough.
Right. So Dallas, they looked okay, man. They didn't really look anything special. They are vying for a wild card spot right now, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, Jason Robertson, man, he is going to be a great player. Like Dale was saying, I think he said, I just missed him in Florida. I wanted this kid, and Dallas took him. He thinks he's going to be, he thinks he's going to be a 40-goal scorer. And I have him in my fantasy league, dude. He is tearing it up right now. He's such a good player. I wasn't impressed with Jake Ottinger, though. I thought he didn't look that great. I know at the beginning of the season, he started in the A, and they had a lot of goaltending depth. They had Holtby, they had Khudobin, and Bishop, who recently retired. And Ottinger was like the odd man out, but he ended up taking over. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about this guy, and I just wasn't impressed with his night. I thought the Kirby Dach goal was kind of soft. He was kind of hugging the post for no reason. And Kirby's like, wow, I'll take that all day. And it was a nice shot. Yeah, it was a good shot. But I mean, goalies aren't supposed to show net like that. And you can't have that in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to go anywhere if they do make it.
In a way, Matt, do you think that that's a good sign to see Kirby recognizing that and going for that shot?
There's no doubt he's got the eye, he's got the skill, and he's got a good shot. And if he skates hard to the net, like hard north and south, and not worrying about being like a caner, like creative back and forth, east-west type of player, I think Kirby could be good. It's just I don't know if you heard Foley and Tallon talking about developing players. Like, you got to be really careful how if a kid's ready and a kid's not ready, you can ruin them. And I kind of think that was a shot at how they treated Kirby Dach when they were talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great to hear, because it's a lot of people are seeing it, and we're seeing it firsthand with Dach, because like you mentioned, he does have the eye, and I think that he can still develop. He just needs, there's going to be definitely a different approach going forward with him, because he's already had a taste of the NHL. Some AHL time could do him some good, but that might hurt his ego, and you got to kind of have to keep an eye on that too.
Now it's harder. He's going to get a bridge deal. He'll probably get like a 2-year. Like, I'd like to see him get another 3-year deal. Just like hey, we messed up, kid. Let's fix it. But I could see him taking a little bit less and trying to get at least $2 million a year or something like that. But they don't be patient. There's definitely something there, and it's worth hanging on to for a couple seasons, especially a rebuild.
Right.
It's not like we're contenders in this guy. We're depending on him to be the top 6 second line center. It's not like that at all.
That's what they were trying to do 2 years ago.
Well, this is the time now. He's in a better position to rebuild. There's not that much pressure. It's going to be another long season next year. This is his time to develop and prove it when we're getting decent, like where the New York Rangers are right now. They had their rebuild and all their pieces are kind of coming into place, and that's what we have to do.
Right. When I think of guys like Joe Pavelski, you think of guys that have been with an organization for a really long time, and you shouldn't let them go. And I think that he really kind of stands out for me like that, kind of like a tale of what you don't want. I believe Joe Pavelski is hitting 70 points this year. And you know what, man? Those are 70 points that San Jose could use. Do you think that Joe could probably get another? I know he just signed for a year, but he probably should have gotten a 3-year deal, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that the GM of Dallas, I think it's Nil or something. He just bought some more time for himself. I'm sure he could, work something out at the deadline next year even, I think he wants him around, but maybe they weren't really sure on dollars yet. And maybe Joe, he likes it. Maybe he likes Texas and the lifestyle down there. And he's ripping it up right now. He's got 2 good players he could play with Robertson and Rupe Hintz. Those kids are pretty dang good. I know Jamie Benn and Sagan have been there for a while. They're still good, but Joe
not 90 points like the old days.
No, it won't happen. But look at Pavelski. He's got to be 37 years old now.
Yeah, he's 37.
36?
37.
And he does not look like a 37-year-old out there.
No, he doesn't.
He looks like a 32-year-old. He's in his prime. He's not the fastest guy, but he absolutely kills the Hawks. He's a Hawk killer. And I wish he would have went out east, honestly, because we got to see him a lot more now, even being in our division. But
yeah,
I'm a big fan of him, and I know I've said this millions of times. I cannot believe you let a heart and soul guy go for a forward that plays defense.
Yeah, hearing when I think of San Jose, I think of Foley's calls when in that 2010 Stanley Cup, Western Conference Final. And do you have any favorite calls from Foley in the booth, or just anything from Foley?
Foley, you know what? I liked. I loved Eddie Belfour. I love when he would just give out his his high voice, "Let us save by Belfour" type of thing like that. I mean, any video with him calling a Belfour save or a goalie save, I was a big fan of. And my favorite Dale moment was when he was calling out Scott Stevens on the St. Patrick's Day Massacre, I think it was called, with the Blues. He goes, "Scott Stevens started every single minute of that fight, and he deserves to get beat by Dave Manson, and he just did not hold back on this guy at all."
Wow.
And I can't imagine if he said something like that today, the Twitter universe would be like, "Oh, this guy needs to get fired. He doesn't know what he's talking about," stuff like that. But that was my favorite Dale call.
I really loved, to be honest with you, man, when I think of Pat Foley, I just like his everyday like antics, the tree 33 or we got 100 seconds left in the period, it's the little stuff like that, it just gives you like a good laugh in the middle of something that, maybe the Hawks are getting their teeth kicked in 5-2, and he says something like that,
whatever. It's just a game. Let's hear me talk.
Yeah.
Remember his Karpatsev rant?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay, so Alexander Karpatsev was a defenseman that the Hawks gave up a lot to get, and he was always hurt. And
what year was this?
I believe this was the early 2000s.
Yeah, I was in the Army at the time, so I didn't have.
So this is on YouTube, Hawks. His rant, and you're gonna listen to it after the pod, and you're gonna be crying laughing. But he absolutely torched this guy when the Hawks traded him. Pat Foley goes, "Today is a good day in Blackhawk history. The Hawks have finally traded Alex Karpatsev. Or, I'm sorry, Dr. Karpatsev. This guy is hurt. I have a concussion. I'm sick. I can't play." He goes,
"Really?
If we got a roll of tape, we would win that trade 100% of the time." Something like that. And it is the best rant in Hawks history. And he goes, "Dr. Karpatsev, good luck, good riddance. Your New York Rangers or Toronto Maple Leafs problem wherever you went." He goes, "But the Hawks, it's a great day for the Hawks." That's what he said. Wow. And it was the best rant.
Yeah, man, I didn't get to watch the Hawks at all for 3 years, man, because just being in the military, it sucked.
Being overseas, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, I wish I could have heard that live. I don't even remember Karpatsev playing for the Hawks. That's kind of like a black hole in
it might have been 2001-ish, that area. I think the Hawks were close to a play. I think they made the playoffs in 2002, with Tebow, but I believe he was on before, and he would have been a good fit, but he didn't want to play. He was hurt, or he said he was hurt, and the doctors were like, "No, you're good, dude. You're good to go." And he's just like, "No, I don't want to." He's just being like a typical Russian type of guy. Like, "I'm going to do what I want. What are you going to do about it?" Yeah.
So speaking of goalies, Lankinen is on a horrible cold streak, and he hasn't been the same since the Flower trade. What do you think it is? Now, here's something that I want to take into consideration. He's been in and out, not even in and out the whole season. He's been on the bench the whole season. We're at the end of the season where teams have been playing all year, so everybody's kind of dialed in. He's not. Maybe he's trying to find his game, and he's kind of just thrown into the fire. Do you think that has something to do with his bad play right now? Because normally at the beginning of the season, guys are able to kind of get into it, and he hasn't had that opportunity. What do you think, Matt?
Absolutely, yeah. He sat too much. He was hurt. To me, his timing and his speed is way off. That goal, the last goal of the second period, where it fired off the boards, he was on top of the crease, down. And I don't understand why you're overplaying a shot like that.
Yeah.
And it was a freak bounce. It was a freak bounce off the boards. And Robertson scored, I believe. And guys are just so good and fast now. Lankinen is like a step off on some of these goals. And I think his timing is way off. And he's getting caught swimming out on the top of the crease. So his recovery is just terrible, and it's just like you said, man. It's hard to sit and watch a guy, and then when you do get in there, you're getting on a good little run, good couple games in a row, and then you get hurt, and then you're fighting that, and then you come back and Fleury's playing out of his mind. Quite honestly, he was really good, and then they trade Fleury, and hey, you're the guy now. It's hard, man. It's hard to do. He's got to step up. He's got to get his timing right. I don't want to see him overplaying shots. I want him to kind of not play too deep in his net, but challenge a little bit. But you got to be able to bail yourself out. He is not even close on some of these plays. So I like to see him adjust his position a little bit.
Yeah, Robertson had 2 goals in consecutive shifts, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a very good player. Dale was right. He could easily score 40.
I think it was the second goal that really got me. It was just a wrister It was like a wrister from the slot, and
Hence,
Lankinen was
Rupe
right
Hens.
in front of it.
Yep. Yeah, Rupe Hens.
Yeah, I thought that was a rough one.
Bad turnover, and they went the other way and scored. And I don't know if you remember this too. Seth Jones let a guy kind of skate right through him. Jones didn't put a body on him.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale goes, "That's just a soft play. We got to put a body on that."
That was in the corner, wasn't it? Yeah, it was in the corner, and he didn't really
goes,
put him
hey,
in. Yeah,
you don't finish your hit. This is what's going to happen. The puck's going to go to the point. They're going to put it on net and score. Every shift, you got to put a body on it.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing to hear that, man, because we got morons on the post-game show. They won't talk about that. Eddie occasionally will call out a guy, but I know Dale Tallon's, it's his first time back, in 10-something years. And he's laying it into guys, and I loved it. I loved it.
All right, man. So I want you to give me what you think on King getting called out on his performance.
Okay.
Coach King.
Yeah. So
Coach Derek King.
Here is my thing about King. We just lost to the Phoenix Coyotes, and we got shut out by the worst team in hockey. Shut out. And the next day of practice, I'm looking at clips of Charlie Remodis guy. Yeah. Look at the Hawks. There's chaos, and they're all goofing off, hugging, playing grab ass. And dude, you lost your room. You gotta be kidding me. Mike Keenan would have these guys see you guys at 6 a.m. I hope you guys took some aspirin and maybe even hammered a little bit, because you're not going to feel your legs after this practice. We send a message, I mean, he's too nice of a guy, King. He's a great guy, but I'm sorry, he doesn't have I like an old school coach that, he pushes you to be a better player, and he expects you to do your job. These guys are they're too loose. And I mean, it's a good thing to be loose, but when you're getting smoked by bad teams, no, you need to take it serious, and you need a serious adjustment. You need to start getting serious. Like, hey, I'm playing for a job next year. Nothing's guaranteed. That's what I would be telling you.
I would think so.
You get out there and you skate like you're still trying to make the playoffs, or skate like it's a playoff game. That's your job. It's not your job to whatever. We're not making the playoffs. Let's just not get hurt type of thing. No, skate 110%, do your job, and at practice, work hard. Don't dick off. That drove me crazy seeing that, because I played double A gold hockey. It's nothing compared to these guys. My coach would never do that if we had got our asses embarrassed the game before. He would skate us. We wouldn't see a puck that whole practice. It would just be nonstop skating. And it sends a message like, hey, we gotta adjust, we gotta change our game, and we gotta take it serious, because this is embarrassing. And I was embarrassed after I saw that.
Yeah, I saw a couple clips, and I was kind of like, at least I was thinking on the other side, like, okay, guys are keeping it loose, not taking it too seriously.
Too loose.
Yeah, I mean, guys aren't at each other's throats, I get it. But I totally see your perspective. Is it the wrong? Has he lost the locker room? I don't think so. I would like to see. I'd like to see him have a camp. You see, that's the problem. Is that this guy just got thrown into a bad situation? At one point they were hunting for a playoff spot, but he had to start 9 games in a 9-game losing streak. And it's hard. You can't really claw back out of that. I mean, I think they hit 500. And
close,
and that was it. Which is really unfortunate. I'd like to see him get a camp though, and see what he can muster in an off season.
I don't mean he lost his locker room.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's most like. I mean, like these guys don't have any fear. Like, oh, coach is gonna bench me. Like, he's too. You know what I mean? He's like too much of an assistant coach. You know what I mean? Like, the assistant coach is the guy that always dicks off with the players, and he'll give him a jab or shoot a puck at him in practice, and he's more like picture Herb Brooks and his assistant coach.
Yeah.
That's how Derek King is. Like, he's more relatable to the players.
Yeah.
There has to be an authority guy. Like, you got to answer to a guy. We don't have that. I feel like there's just like, cool, it is what it is. Yeah, we suck.
We suck.
Yeah. Like if it was like a Torts or Mike Keenan, it'd be like, man. There'd be no media. Our Torts would be like, you know what? We just got shut out. We're going to move on. Practice is going to be closed doors, and it's going to be one of those. So we'll see you. We'll see you before the game, or we'll see you after the game next game. But no questions tonight. Yeah. Have a good night. That would be it.
That'd be bad news.
So, yeah, that would be bad. And as a player, you don't want to hear that. It's like, damn it, this is gonna suck.
This is gonna be fucking brutal.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to some NHL news. Matthews. 50 goals in 50 games, pretty incredible. 10 games left, about to hit 60. Do you think he's going to get the MVP?
For sure. Yeah, 60 goals is a huge accomplishment. He's probably going to be one of the greatest American snipers, goal scorers out there. I'm not saying he's going to be the best American player because Patrick Kane is still playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
gotta
kid's
win
exciting,
some hardware.
Man. Great, yeah, exactly. Kaner's got the hardware. Matthews he needs to win a playoff series.
Individual and team hardware, I mean.
Yeah, well, Matthews is going to get didn't he get the Rocket last year?
Yeah, I mean, that's nice, but I mean, they also bowed out in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and he didn't score anything, or maybe he got one, but still, I think he's having a good year. He's been focused, and I know he got suspended 2 games too. He'd probably have more goals, honestly. He could probably have 3 more easily.
Yeah. It's a scoring machine. Pretty interesting, man, is that, Matthews is, I think, a very talented player, but I think if you live in New York, he does not stand a chance against Chris Kreider. And Chris Kreider is at 49 goals, about to hit 50. Crazy. At the beginning of the season, would anybody have taken Kreider scoring 50 this year?
No one would take him in fantasy. He was always the top free agent in fantasy. He'd have good, solid numbers, but he would never get drafted. He was that type of guy. In every league I was ever in, Chris Kreider was the number one guy that would, get picked up if a guy got hurt, then dropped when the guy's healthy. And I'm like, man, I don't get this guy scoring 30 goals a year. Like I'm even questioning myself, like, why did I pick this guy?
Yeah, and he's gonna hit 50, man. That's incredible.
And remember the boys
congratulations
at the 30? The boys on 30 Broadway. Chris Kreider, I don't get him. We don't get him.
Like, he was overrated. I mean, I think that there was
they see him more than us.
Yeah, they do. They do. I think he's only getting about $4 million a year.
Yeah, he looks like the leader out there. To me, he's the captain of the Rangers right now. I think he's a good leader out there. He's putting up all these goals that he's like the last of a power forward type of guy. He's a good tipper. He's right in front of the net all the time for rebounds. He's a good player, man.
Yeah, he is, but I did not see this goal scoring.
No. I thought maybe 30, 35-ish type of player, maybe peak at 35er, but yeah. He's just been on, man. Good for him.
Who's another player that you would say has been on that nobody really saw it coming?
I mean, maybe some people saw it coming. Johnny Hockey, I think he really broke out this year. He's at 100 points for the first time in his career.
Yeah.
I think he never, he's kind of, to me, like he's like in the shadow of Kaner. He's such a good small American player, but he's flashy, but not like Kane. But this year, man, he's been really good.
Yeah, he has.
And a lot of people, even a lot of like me, I overlook the Flames, and I'm on the Flames wagon, man. I hope they go far.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned Johnny Hockey because I was going to mention Matthew Tkachuk. I thought that he's been
whole
good.
First line. Whole first Flames line has been very good. 30 goal scorers on the top line.
Right.
It's freaking unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't even think the Blackhawks did that in their 2010 run.
They didn't need to.
No, we had Kaner with 40, Sharpie would have 30, and then the rest we had 20 goal scorers. Average, like everybody. 20 goals. Yeah. Bosa.
All right, man. Yeah, Matthews. Mitch Marner actually had a really low key good season this year.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about him. I know I'm a big Mitch Marner fan. I am. I like the way he plays. Matthews is gonna get all the spotlight. Scoring all the goals. That's usually how it is. But he's a big part of that team too. I think Tavares has been quiet. No, I mean I haven't really heard much about him this year.
I've heard even less about him.
Yeah, and Willie Nylander. Well, believe it or not, I'm looking at Mitch Marner's stats right now.
I'm looking at William Nylander in the playoffs, dude, because that dude shows up.
He showed up. Yes, he did. But how many goals do you think Mitch Marner has?
I would say that he's probably somewhere around the 30 goals, 55 range that nobody knows about it. Where's he at?
31 goals.
Really?
And I did not see that coming. When I looked up his name, I'm like, this guy's probably got like 22 goals, 60-something assists. He's got 59 assists and 31 goals.
Holy smokes. So I was pretty close then.
So he's got 90 points. He's a plus 22. I mean, he's definitely, he's having a great year. I think it's a career year.
They're scoring on him, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a career high for him. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 2018, he had 94 points, but he's probably going to pass that. He needs 4 more points. This is going to be a career year for him. He'll probably hit 100. I could see him hitting the 100-point marker.
Has he missed any time?
He's 63 games played. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he has.
He has missed time?
Yeah. There's only like 10 games left in the season.
Yeah, he probably missed 10-something games. But that's impressive, man. Jack Campbell, too, he's having a good season. He's 27-9. He was out for a while. He had some trouble before he got injured, and I know it was panic mode in Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
We were hearing Fleury going there, or somebody.
Fleury going to the Caps.
Yep, yeah.
That was a good one. I never saw that.
Did you hear Fleury talk about that after the trade?
No.
From Minnesota? He goes, "Yeah, it would be too weird to play there. Yeah, I rejected it." That's what he said.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
It's weird. It's like say Kaner getting trade offers from Vancouver. It's like nah, the battles. I can't.
No way.
Out of respect for Hawks fans, I can't do that.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Yeah.
So, give me the scoop on Malkin. Apparently, had a horrible high stick.
Yeah, it was a high cross check. Hit this dude right in the mouth. Dude, He was spitting blood out like crazy. So he's got a hearing tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Just breaking news. Malkin suspended 4 games.
Wow.
Just came up. Yeah, 4 games. It was a hit on Matt Borkowski. And he hit him high. It was a good cross check to the mouth. And he's going to forfeit $190,000.
Wow.
That's chump change for him, but
sure.
I mean, it was vicious, man. It was unnecessary. Pittsburgh's going to be in the playoffs, but Pittsburgh they can be dirty. I remember Tortorella went off on them. These guys are the biggest jokes in the league. He would say these guys get away with everything, and Crosby, they'll whine about this and whine about that. And he's not wrong. They do play dirty at times.
Like that clip that I sent you of Mario Lemieux and Mike Keenan when the Blackhawks and the
91
yeah. And the Pens were in the Stanley Cup Finals. Mike Keenan was saying in the media that Mario Lemieux was diving out there, and Mario's like, I'm gonna go dive into the Stanley Cup in the locker room.
Yeah. It's like you can't really get a comeback after that one.
Gosh,
it's like,
brutal.
You win, dude.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
So Mark Stone is returning for the Vegas Golden Knights. Matt, how is this going to happen? The Golden Knights, to bring him back, they got to free up $9 million in cap space.
Yeah, I don't know. I found this out, believe it or not, through a fantasy alert. It said Mark Stone will be traveling with the team, and he could possibly play tomorrow, and he's on my IR. And I'm looking at him right now. They definitely, no doubt about, they need this guy. He's a leader, good goal scorer, playmaker. But It's been a rough year. He's only got 28 games played. He's got 8 goals, 20 assists. He definitely very important. But like you said, how does this happen? How are we going to do this? Are we going to be shuffling guys down, or I just
like
don't
5
know.
guys?
I'm surprised. Like, I know they're desperate. I'm surprised they're not waiting until the playoffs if they do make it. I mean, it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Pretty interesting. So, Matt, you got anything else, man?
No, I do not. I'm just next Hawks game. I don't even know who they're playing, but fans are going to lose interest because if they keep playing the way they do, they got to play a full 60 and give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, there's only 10 games left in the season. If I was them, I would look at it as like a 10-game, kind of like a 10-game season, and see if they can take all 10. Go out on a high note with some pride, and get that deserved, off time. Take a good vacation, and then get ready to get into it. Some off-season training.
Yep. We're playing the Kings next, another playoff battle team. So I mean, it's not going to get any easier.
Well, we beat the Kings the last time we played them, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But they're fighting for their playoff lives right now. They're 38, 26, and 10. They're a solid team. That division just doesn't. They just don't want to. No one wants a spot, it seems like, except Calgary. and I know they've kind of figured out what was been going on. They might lock in the 2 seed. So I mean, look, dude, you got Vegas, LA, and that's it. I mean, Vegas might get lucky just because everyone else is kind of quitting too. Like the Sharks, the Ducks are out of it. But going back to Mark Stone real quick, I'm really surprised they're forcing him back. If he has a lot of injuries, it's stupid. You almost, like we said a couple weeks back, maybe shut this guy down and try again next season when everybody's healthy and go for it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have setbacks with this is your captain. This is the guy you're paying $9 million a year for.
He's a great player. And
you want to see him play with Jack Eichel. And
right.
I mean,
for a full season.
A healthy Mark Stone and a healthy Jack Eichel. If I was a Knights fan, I'd be pretty furious about this, actually.
Yeah. Especially, taking that chance on Eichel in the first place. The surgery turned out to be a huge success for him. And now we've got Mark Stone with back problems, and they're trying to force him back to be honest with you, Vegas isn't going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
No.
I know that's coming from a guy who said that his Stanley Cup favorite was the New York Islanders.
Hey,
yeah, I understand.
Did you see them? Did you see them recently?
No.
They're like 5 points back from a wild card spot.
They make it, man. Or do you think they're going to take it?
No way. But I'm just saying, when you're at the bottom of the freaking league,
sure,
that's freaking impressive.
It is.
That's Barry Trotz playing old school. Like, hey, we're going to grind it out and
old school,
try to get a wild card just
Predators
to kind
hockey.
of save us. Yeah, Predators hockey. Boring.
All right, everybody. That's all that we got for you tonight. Do us a favor, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. We really, really appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.